that I need for what I'm doing just right this moment. I'm going to be adding more when I do the breasts. Um, so that's taken care of in essence. Um, we just want to reshape this the way that we want it for the time being, so it looks a little bit better. Alright, let's go ahead and do her buttocks, and then, or at least get a basic buttocks in here, and then we'll do her torso. Um, Now this is one of the instances where putting in actual triangles is pretty much allowed because it can give you a nice crease that you want, which I'll do more on the front, but in the back, all you really need is just a couple lines, a couple edges that loop around. In fact, for this one, we could just cut it in like that. Yeah, it's kind of blocky, but um, we don't really. It's not that big of a deal. Um, Again, that's one of those spots that's going to get more geometry due to um, the breasts forming when we do that. So you will see more definition here in a minute. Um, so here's one of our triangles that I was just talking about. And actually, that's not really a good triangle. That's not where we want it because you're going to see that that point where when we um, later on once we retopologize and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and really cut in something that we're going to use here for the buttocks. So you can see how just a quick, simple cut can improve the overall shape. Um, Now there's so many ways you can do this. Like I'm not even gonna go into the. This is just how I do it, um, and it might not even be an actually good idea. I'm not even sure, um, but this is good enough for what I'm doing at this moment, and hopefully later on down the road, as I get more work on this model in, we'll be seeing a lot more in terms of good finished product. Now her buttocks doesn't really need to be too detailed because I mean it's a buttocks. Um, I'm not worried. I'm not too worried about it. So, but let's try to keep it clean and blocky and simple for right now. So let's just merge that, and we'll be working on this a lot later. But let's just get the general shape in there. Yeah, there we go. Yay, super blocky. She's looking a bit like a chicken leg right now, but that's all right. Um, let's get the breast formation. Actually, let's do her collarbone first, because I keep going on about that, and let's actually get that in there right now. So you can see right here, I just tied it off into the middle. Now what this does is it creates a perfect loop between the two halves. So this is tied off. This is no longer an issue. That's something you have to keep in mind. Is you could have triangles and you have quadrilaterals. Quadrilaterals is when you have four sides, right? It's a poly. Um, you never want an n-gon that is more than four polys. Um, and the obvious reason is there's a few reasons for this. One, it won't render well. Two, it doesn't deform well during animation. And five, it's a pain in the ass to texture. So yeah, those are just a few reasons why you want to focus on that. Um, so A.B.A has a very skinny neck, which goes along with just how skinny she is in general. So we're gonna pull this in a little bit, and yeah, we're starting to get what we want here. Um, and I'll be adding more geometry to this eventually. But I don't want to just throw a crap ton of polys at it and just hope for the best. That won't get us anywhere. It'll just make a big mess, and it'll just be really hard to work with. So, I guess the essence of working with a character model like this is, um, oops, oh, I grabbed the wrong tool. The essence of this is work with what you have before you add more. So like right here, I pretty much, this whole area I had worked as well as I could, and now I'm adding more geometry because I actually need it. Not just be, you don't want to add in geometry just because you feel like it. You always want to add in geometry when you absolutely need it. So let's start from the back, since the back is going to be less detailed anyways. And we're just gonna sort of pull that out to get the proper shape of our back here. You can already tell that I'm not really using the photo reference much at all. At this point, I'm just going more with how it looks and my own intuition. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically what you want to do. So, this is going to be our breasts. Yeah, so what we need to do now is start adding in geometry to it, and then start. Generally, the topology for breasts is pretty simple in actuality. It seems really complex, but actually here, oops. Um, I do want to point out one thing that you want to do. You always want the geometry of the breasts or pectoral muscles, depending on whether you're doing a male or female, or if you're doing a female that has very pronounced pectorals, to connect into the shoulder, like this. And there's a few reasons for this. The most obvious being, when the shoulder moves, it will pull on these polys, and it will create a more convincing and realistic um, deformation. So that's very important, as well as it will give your shoulders a lot more geometry to actually work with, and it'll um, uh, look more about the shape that you want, basically. And I just tied it off to here, but I will be moving that later. That's not going to actually stay there. And again, you'll see that I tied it off so that there's no in-guns going on. A.B.A doesn't exactly have very large breasts, so that's just something you need to keep in mind while you're working on it. You can see here I can move my polys lower and then tie them off in certain ways that I can actually get like that median abdomen flow really early, and that's good to really get the poly flow that you really need as early as possible, um, rather than just kind of working on one section and not really worrying about anything else. I will be pulling another flow around here in a minute. I don't need too much in this area, since it's usually going to be covered up by the cloth here, but it will be something that I want to have there to help define her silhouette more. Alright, so you can already see that I need to add some more geometry around here. At this stage, it kind of comes down to just figuring out how I want the topology to look. So let's just, at this point, it's going to be basically working things down until it gets to the way I want it. What in the world's going on here? Oops. I don't think these are lined up just right. Alright. Yeah, that's better. So, now we can pull in this across. And again, I'm just going to tie it off there, but it probably will be moved later. I'm not stressing out about it too much right now. I just want to get the general shape of her breasts and her body in here before I can really start working things down. Um, so yeah, so we're starting to get A.B.A.'s sort of general shape to her. Um, Now, the way that breasts are often done is you sort of just add rings around it until it's about what you want. Um, and they try to add. They usually add a lot, actually. Sometimes I think it's too much. Like with the Bayonetta model, I saw a reference picture of that, and the topology for her breasts was just like ridiculous. Like I swear to God, 1,000 polys were just for each one of them. Um, but you know, I mean, that was Bayonetta. I mean, obviously that was kind of the point for her. So I mean, it really just goes with whatever design you really want to focus on, I guess. Um, so you can already see that it's kind of difficult to get the perfect shape that you need, and to get all these polys in line. You just really have to finesse them. You can also use the sculpt tool if you're handy enough with it, but I usually don't even bother with that. I usually bother. It usually is more of a nuisance than it's worth for me. So I mean, but that's you know that's an option that you can use. So I saw that Swizzle was doing a TF2 character replacement as well, um, based off of the old timey 1850s character portraits from the little comic that was up on TF2. So um, and actually, I've been thinking about this project for a long time before that, but I saw it today and I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. Maybe I'll just go ahead and start working. And I'd already been setting up to do this video, so it wasn't that difficult to actually put together. But um, it's something that you know it's kind of cool to see how other people are doing things. So you know that was cool, and I actually got a few ideas from it, like sculpting the head and retopologizing it afterwards. Um, I also found out that the the cloak for the spy actually doesn't do very good with alpha hair when you do polystrips. And I had been planning on doing A.B.A.'s hair as polystrips because her hair is quite messy and it would just look better that way. So I'm actually wondering if I will need to think of another option for her, or if I can still get away with that. Um, and that I think is going to come down to testing and just seeing what works best. Now, um, A.B.A. is covered in bandages, like completely covered. So her breasts aren't going to have that normal sag to them that they would normally have. Instead, they're kind of compressed against her chest, kind of bound up from the bandages. So I need a model with that in mind. So you can kind of see I'm already doing that, where her breasts are they have the